I'm going to start with prayer, so I'm just going to ask you to just bow your heads as we invite the Lord's presence. Heavenly Father, we give you thanks for the gift of life. We give you thanks for health and strength and the things that we often take for granted. Father, we ask for your guidance and your continued mercies today and always. For those who are making their way here, we pray that they get here safely. For those who will be delivering the message, we pray that they're able to deliver and impart in a way that encourages those that need to step forward to create the changes that we want to see in our country to be able to do so. These and other mercies we ask in your precious and holy name. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to a very important day in Jamaica's history. Some leaders are born, some leaders are made. Today, I introduce to you a born leader, a man of extraordinary vision, a fearless leader with an unwavering determination, a true revolutionary, an innovator who is not afraid to challenge the status quo. It is with great pride that I present to you today the leader of the KRV. Please rise and join me in a thunderous applause to Mr. Andrew Donahue.
Thank you so much for being here. You can have a seat. You know, sometimes in life you wonder, why you're here. Like, why were we born? Like, what is our purpose? And I think today is one of those days where it's going to align for a lot of us. This is a country that has been through a lot. This is a country that has long been wondering, how long are we going to be in this situation where we wonder if we're going to constantly be in this struggle, constantly be in this fight. Well, I can confidently tell you today that today is the day that that changes. And I'm not saying that as a political party or leader or as a politician, because I'm not. I'm saying that because there are a lot of people that have been working behind the scenes for Jamaica, a lot of people that have been given and working tirelessly to make a difference. And this event is the first step of 1,000 steps, where we're going to try and get all those puzzle pieces of those people who really, truly love and care for this country and who want to make a difference. I've had the opportunity to talk to a few of you in the crowd today, and I can tell you right now, I feel so inspired by the energy, by the confidence, and by the innate passion to really make a difference. And that's exactly what this is about. So welcome to the KRV Leadership Conference. It's also going to be a conference for our entrepreneurs, leaders, and innovators. This is a very small step for 1,000 steps to make our country different, and that's why we're here. So before we start, I just want to let you know that one of the key things for a good leader is that you have to be a good listener. So I want to have this be an interactive event. I want to have you involved, talking, asking questions as well. So it's not just me here preaching to you and giving you a vision that I believe is best for you. So we're going to start off by, kind of like canvassing the room, and I want you to, Joan has the mic. Tell me, like, what it is that you want for this country. What is your vision for Jamaica? What is it that you would like to see? Because maybe our vision is not your vision, right? Maybe what we're trying to do is not exactly what you're trying to do. So let's start that out. Is there anyone that want to stand and probably say? Okay, so we start here, and then we'll just take about 10 minutes or so. Feel free to just voice your point, but it's an opportunity for you to be heard. Go ahead.
All right. So my name is Damien Lang, and I'm 30 years old, right? So Jamaica I was born and raised in Jamaica from Whole Harbor, and Jamaica is very dear to me, right? Because no matter where you go in the world, Jamaica is, everybody knows Jamaica. You can't hide. Once you're Jamaican, I don't care where you go, you cannot hide. Could be the Middle East, could be China, could be Alaska. Jamaica, they know that you're Jamaican, right? So we influence so much around this world. Hip hop culture was born from a Jamaican, right? We have so many Jamaican innovators, right? They won't give Jamaica credit for a lot of things that Jamaica have, contributed to this world. But I believe change is necessary because we are used to JLP, we're used to PMP, we're used to the same system, right? So whenever one system fails, the other one promises to do better, and once they get in, they get comfortable, they do the same thing, right? So we know the cycle and we know how it goes, right? So I'm here today because I want to see the change, and I love the idea of Jamaica being a place where, they actually put some common sense ideas into place, right? Some policies that make sense, right? Because some of the policies that's in place right now, it doesn't make sense, right? It looks like, I don't know who come up with some of them, but like, you understand, for example, like the baby seat in the taxi, that was one of them that like, yo, come on, you understand? So that's just a small example, but I would just like to see Jamaica be a place where we can have some policies in place and some laws in place that actually work for the people and not against the people, because right now it looks as if it's against the people, right? Because, they can do so much better, but to me, it's like the system of using poverty as a weapon is what I'm seeing, right? They're using poverty as a weapon, and it's not fair because you don't control where you're born, right? I wouldn't give up Whole Harbor for anything because it's a very lovely place, but I have no control. I could have been born in West Kingston, right? My chances probably would have been different. But, does that mean Jamaica love me less because I was born in West Kingston? You understand? So some of the policies need to be changed. Jamaica needs to be the classism of Jamaica needs to cut down, and everybody needs a fair shot. So that's just my take.
All right, thank you so much.
All right.
And these candid responses is something that we need to really just kind of like break down and ask us why? Like, why do they do this? Like, who is winning? Who's winning from all these? I don't get it, right? We don't get it. And this is why you need everyday people where they talk down to you like you're the one that is stupid, right? Like, this doesn't make any sense to anybody. So who is winning from this? And that's why it's very good to hear from the people, because I don't think anyone really listens to the people, right? And don't make excuses for anything. It doesn't make sense. What you're doing does not work. It's not working for us. Why do you have a class system where they're winning? And how does that benefit anybody? So thank you so much for that.
I think I might have a bit of an answer to that question.
Let's just stay with what are your hopes and visions?
Yes, so it does align with that. So I will be unintentionally, of course, answering that question. So my name is Jaheem Graham. I go by Viridian Llewellyn in professional spaces. And social impact is really what I'm all about. Now, I do believe capitalism and people in higher positions profit off disparity. The more we fight, the more they resolve our problems or seemingly resolve our issues, I think that creates a profit for them. And so with my work, I really just want to stop that disparity overall. I think we all, as Jamaicans, or even as human beings in general, fight because we don't understand each other. We fight because we believe that we have to be against each other. We have gender disputes happening all around. We're constantly divided between two sides. It's either JLP or PNP, or maybe it's man versus woman. It's straight people versus LGBTQ plus folks. It's always like a disparity that we're always fighting against each other. And I think ultimately the way that we can move beyond that is to foster communication, facilitate healthy discourse really, and just try to understand and see where everyone is coming from. So I guess my vision really is to see a group of people who are open-minded, Jamaicans who aren't afraid to learn about other issues, who aren't afraid to advocate for those issues, who aren't afraid to start creating creative solutions even to resolving issues around the world, not just limited to our country, because we are at the center of attention all the time. So if you go to anywhere in the world and say, I am Jamaican, people will know exactly where you're from, people know you. So I think we're kind of at that center of focus, and that we can use that to move beyond and start to implement all these solutions that the world needs on a global scale in the future as well. So that's really where I'm hoping to see. So here at this conference, I'm really just trying to meet like-minded individuals, work together with people, and see what change and what solutions other people have in mind to see how best we can all move forward as a group.
Thank you. See, you're hearing a common theme here where Jamaica is actually a brand. It's a brand. It's a world-known brand. It's almost like Ford, like Apple, like Google. It is a brand. And it is a brand that has been mismanaged. It is a brand that is divided, right? We all know how significant Jamaica is, and we all know how proud it is to be Jamaica. Even we're a third world country, but the name Jamaica stands out to everybody as something to be proud of. Imagine if we weren't a third world country. And you have a very good point in saying that, you know what? It needs to be in a way that everybody can speak openly and freely, right? And that's exactly what the KRV is here. That's why I'm giving you the microphone. That's why I'm giving you the floor, right? Because the people need to be heard. The people need to be heard, and more importantly, they need to be seen. There are a lot of people in this country that are not seen. They drive past them every single day. I call it the billboard theory. The billboard theory is this. You probably drove past a number of billboards today. Raise your hand if you remember any of them. Do you remember any? Maybe one or two? Okay, right? Well, it's the same thing with poor people and the poverty in this country, right? Even we do it too. We see, we see someone who basically we know we could have made a difference with by giving them, $100 here or a nanny or whatever, whatever you think will make a difference. But the point is, it's the same thing for our leaders. They see these things and it just fades into the background. And that's why one thing we're going to do as a KRV, we're going to be aspirational and have big plans of being a first world country. But more importantly, we are going to take care of the everyday Jamaicans. And we're not going to do it by, okay, we're making promises. It's to have people like you and people like you be a part of the solution. Now, how do I make people like you and you be a part of the solution? How do I empower you? All right? Well, it's very simple in my estimation. That's two things. Money plus authority. We need to take the money from the national level and push it down to the parish level. If you go to the United States, there is a budget for the federal level, and every state controls their own money. Every state controls their own funding. We don't have that here. We don't have parishes where you can determine how the money for the parish is spent. So what we're going to do is champion the idea of having people like yourself, and we're going to go through this into the number of interactions that we have. Oh, we're gonna get around. I'm just kind of having a response to everyone. So, champion the idea that we need more leaders on the deck level, on the ground level, right? We don't need to be solving every single problem from this high. Empower the people below, give them the money, and give them the authority to make a change, give them the authority to make a difference. And that's one of the key things that we're doing, right? Because you might just need $10,000 to do what you want to do. You might need another $50,000 just to get a start. You don't have to do the entire thing. The start is what's really important. The start is what's really important. It's often not the hardest part. But once you get it started, you can really make a difference. So thank you again for that. You next? John? Okay.
Okay, morning. My name is Jermaine Williams, a professional landscaper. What changes I really want to see is I want to see accountability in our political directorate. And so too often, as someone who follow the whole political thing, I think there is total no moral authority among our political and senior civil servant too, because not only the political directorate, but the senior civil servant, I think they believe that they are above the laws. And so I think we need adequate leadership both from our watchdogs, such as our Integrity Commission, oversight body, without our political directorate dictating to them. And until we can have accountability, corruption-free persons who will stand up fearless regardless of the outcome, regardless. Yeah, people may say, boy, I don't want to speak out because I'm afraid of my job, I'm afraid of the threat to my families and such like. But we need persons who will rise above those fears and that's the only way Jamaica are going to be the choice of place to work, raise family and do business. And, we speak about Vision 2030. Trust me, I really don't have any faith that we will achieve what Vision 2030 is, because at the current level, with our corruption and this high disparity among our rich and low, but we need some changes among that. And until we get that, hope in Jamaica is fading every day. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I'm just going to get the responses going that way. Everyone don't think that I forgot about them. So, who's next? But thank you so much, and I totally agree with that. By the way, I think that one of the foundational things that we need to understand, not only about the country, but as a people, is the importance of integrity. Integrity is super, 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 super important. It's important in our everyday lives. It's important in the way that we conduct our business. It's important for us as a country. In the military, I'm just to give you my background. I'm actually a retired Navy senior chief, did 21 years in the military. We spend a lot of time talking about the importance of trust. So trust is something that is very powerful, but also very fragile. It is very powerful. When you have it, you can do a lot of things. But once you lose that trust, it's almost hard to retain. It's very easy to lose that trust. And that's why we have to prioritize integrity at all levels. That's what we do. A lot of people are so focused on being right, and that's not important. Be honest, right? And once you have that as your core value, it should radiate out, right? Integrity is not necessarily about being a good person and doing what is right. It's about alignment. It's where your actions align with your word and who you truly are, right? And that's why we have to make that be one of our core values, is that we're going to be people of integrity, right? We're not going to try to have a shortcut and just do what it takes to win, because that's kind of like, that's just a result of poverty, right? It's not unique to Jamaica. You find poverty all over the world. Everybody's trying to cut corners to get there because the system doesn't provide an opportunity to get there, the easy way or the right way. So we are going to have, yes, we can have the commission, we can have all these things, but we need to have a culture of integrity. And that needs to be properly defined of what it means and how important it is. If Jamaica is seen on the world as a country that's corrupt, who wants to do business with us? Nobody. So it comes at a cost. It comes at a cost. It's not like we're actually losing the more dishonest we are, right? Because we are so focused on these short-term gains that we're missing the long-term vision, right? It is a marathon, not a sprint. So this is something that you're going to hear from the KRV a lot, that we're going to espouse and we're going to basically push us. Listen, I would tell you right now, one thing you won't hear from us, you won't hear the ray, like, the PNP and GLP, right? That's not who we are, right? So if we are going to win this election, we're going to win it with integrity, and we're going to win it with our dignity. If the people don't want that, then that's fine. But we're not going to be doing things for vote. I have to say this to get your vote. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm really not. That's integrity, right? It's alignment. So thank you for making that. It's a very good point, and that's something that we really need for this country. Sorry for having you wait for so long. Go ahead.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Dean Ebanks. I'm a graphic designer and printer. I am extremely, extremely passionate about Jamaica becoming a better place to live. I'm going to ask my wife to just read something that I came upon just this past week that I'm very pleased with, and this will give a foundation of what I'm about to say.
Good morning, my name is Paula Ebanks. Okay, what he asked me to read is this Windrush Descendants. The values of respect and inclusion are the common ground for all, regardless of background, culture, or status.
Thank you, Paula. That's a lot to digest. I just know about that this past week. The thing is that I'm first and foremost born-again Christian, and I'm reluctant to want to use the word Christian because I've been so, turned off by a lot of people who say they are Christians, and even churches who have church members and who have let us down. I know that the church can't really fail because the church is you. The true Christian is not good works, dress code, baptism, tongues, or Sabbath. It's an individual, The thing is that I believe that actions speak louder than words. And everything I do is Jamaican. I mean, if you talk about some people who are JLP, PNP, you know, the joke is that some people, you cut them, you say green. You cut them, you see orange. Well, I guess if you cut me, you will see the green, black, and the yellow. I'm really serious about Jamaica. I'm so passionate that I can't find the words. And most of my family members, everyone is away. And I choose to stay here. And as a Christian, there's a scripture that is very kind of cliche. 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14. It says that if my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves, pray, seek God's face, turn from their wicked ways, then he'll hear from heaven, forgive us, and heal the land. I take that very literal. As a young Christian, I used to think that, okay, it's God's people, and you want the prime minister and you want the church leaders to make it happen together. But I've personalized it before I returned to a place that is called Standpipe that I grew up. I left Standpipe in 81, returned 2011, and was devastated in terms of not crime and violence, but the looks of the place and the bad words and, how the people live. It was a culture shock for me. And I've decided that, my wife and myself decided that we will have to live there because my father owned it at the time. We have to live there. So we decided to try to make a change. So we started a small group. And we call that group, brace yourself right now. We call that group Winner City. We don't use the word ghetto in our organization. We don't say garrison, we don't say trench town, we don't say inner city. We know they're all winners. And this is why the plan is to help people to realize, I like what I'm hearing so far, to know your purpose and to fulfill your purpose. That's the most important thing we can ever do. I just get, on a scale of 10, I'm about 2, 3, 4, or less than that, enjoying and experiencing purpose, and it feels so good. Most of those so-called gunmen and women and crime and violence and all of that, they are all winners, but they don't know. And all we need to do is find a way to show them, how important they are. The strategy that we are using, if I should call it a strategy or a model or whatever it is simply love. It is not a Christian thing or what she read is so important. It's everybody thing. And I'm convinced that if it doesn't go God's way, it's not going to work. We made a commitment that if it's not glorifying him, it will not work. I don't know what the root of this situation is, but if it's not founded on the word of God, it's going to fail. I pray and hope that it is founded because I want it to work more than all of you. Okay, but if it's not founded on the word of God, it's going to fail. If Winner City is not consistent with the word of God, I'm not talking about legalism and religiosity. It stinks. Those things stink. That's a problem we're having in the church right now. Okay? It's all about seeking God first and putting him first in everything. I don't want to come across as religious because I'm doing it how Jesus Christ did it. The byways, the edges, the bushes, the buses. We talk to them. I like what I'm hearing, brother. The real people, deal with them as human beings. And if you can seriously do this, then it will definitely work. Countries right now are looking at us, the diaspora. We are not on social media as yet. Take care, right, foundation. It is conflict resolution and life skills with fun. And they are going to be learning it and replicating, and before you know it, Jamaica will be a better place. But I'm overwhelmed right now, and I really like everything. I really want it to work. So I pray that it will be founded on God.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I really commend your efforts and everything that you're doing to make a difference, and I do like the concept of Winner City. Anything that would make or you would see themselves in a different light. That's very, very empowering. I want to go back to the concept that I mentioned about integrity and alignment. I have to be honest with everyone in this room. So right in front of me are my parents that I love dearly. It's my father, my mother. And you give me a round of applause. And family is so important to me. It's so important to me. And I can tell you right now, without those two, I wouldn't be here. Without those two, I wouldn't be successful. And I have tremendous love and respect for them. My father is a minister, he's a preacher, and he's actually, I always say, that is my biggest fan, right? My biggest fan is my father. Something that's interesting that I need you to know is that although my father is a preacher, I am not religious, right? How does he have a preacher's son not be religious, right? Because I've traveled the world, I've seen the world, and I've done a lot of research when it comes to religion. Do I believe in God? Yes, I do, right? But I have a more humble approach to it. I believe, what can I do? What can I do with what I was given, with what I've had? I don't think too much about controlling things, everything. What can I do to make a difference? What can I do to make a change? And I'm just going to do it. If it's good enough, it's good enough. So what you're not going to hear a lot from here is too much religion, not because I'm against it. It was just because we are more focused on action than we are focused on belief. Does that make any sense? And I know that this is a religious country, and it's very hard to say this, but I have to be honest. I have to be honest. I cannot be anything but honest. Now, I want to give you guys an analogy to kind of like drive home this point and why I think this way. So for those of you who wanted to make a statement, just hold on for 1 second. So can you come over here for a second, Todd? Todd is not a man of faith, right? Let's say that we have a boxing match. We're going to fight, right? I'm big bad Andrew Donahue, and Todd he's just here for the money, right? I'm the world champion, right? I've been knocking people out. Somehow he got assigned to it. That if he fights me, he's going to make $1 million. Todd is broke. He doesn't even know how to fight. He's from IT, right? He doesn't know anything. But he decides to take the fight just for the money. But the only thing that Todd does not want is that he does not want to be embarrassed on national television. He does not want to be knocked out. So Todd goes to a local gym, hires a local coach, and trains for 12 rounds. A 12-round fight, right? Todd does not think he has a chance to win anywhere at all. He knows he's going to lose. He just doesn't want to be embarrassed. Does not even believe in himself. Andrew Donahue, on the other hand, thinks that he's the best thing since creation. And I'm gonna hear this iceberg, right? And I'm gonna knock Todd. I'm gonna knock Todd out. I'm talking, right? I'm gonna knock him out here. I'm gonna knock him out there, right? I'm the big bad. I'm doing the whole Muhammad Ali thing, right? I don't train. I train for 1 round because I'm gonna knock out Todd in 1 round, right? Now, before I tell you how the fight goes, you have to place your wager and place your bets. Are you gonna place your bet on the one who believes in himself? Andrew Donahue, who's here, right, doing all this kind of stuff, or the one who does not believe in himself. And that's fine. We're going to have different wages. Who has their money on Todd? Raise your hand. Okay, cool. Who has their money on me? Raise your hand. Okay, right? I believe in myself, right? Okay. All right. You believe in Todd as well? Okay, I believe in Todd as well. Okay. The first round comes around, the fight starts, and exactly like I said, that's what happened. I beat Todd up. I knocked him down. But you know what? He got back up. Right? He got back up. He answered the 8 count. He came back up, right? He goes to his corner, and throw water in his face and say, yeah, man, hang in there. He's like, I want to get out there. No, don't quit. Hang in there, right? I'm like, oh, man, Todd is tougher than I thought he was. The second round comes around, and I do it again. I beat Todd up, but he's still standing. Right? He's still standing, right? He goes back to his corner, and the corner says, hey, listen, man, just circle, jab, jab. Just stay on, just have him on the end. It's okay. He's not even trying to win. He's just trying to not be embarrassed, right? The third round goes out there. I'm swinging away. Now I'm exhausted. Why am I exhausted? Who can tell me why I'm exhausted? I trained for 1 round. I'm in the 3rd round, and Todd is still standing. And Todd is fresh. Why is Todd fresh? Because he trained. I believed in myself, but I did not train. He did not believe himself, but he trained. You understand? That's the big difference that I need to understand here. All right? If you does anybody fight? Like if you fight, like you get really tired. Like you can't even lift your arms. Yeah, like after a while, man, like fatigue is a killer for a lot of fighters. The fight goes on, the fourth round, the fifth round, right? The more I get tired, does he get more confident or does he lose confidence? He gets more confident, right? He gets more confident because right now I'm his punching bag, right? It goes that way through the end of the fight. Todd wins the fight decisively, all right? Right? So let's give it up for Todd. Thanks. You're the winner, Todd. So I want you to understand that faith is important, but if you want to give it a value, give it 20%. Right? It's 20% of the entire game. And it's a foundation, right? It's the first 20%. But you're not going to win with 20% effort. Action represents 80%. So whenever you're doing something and you know that you spent a lot of time praying and you did nothing, you got the 20%. You got the 20%. But understand that the 80% still needs to be done. The hard work needs to be done. The sacrifices need to be made. This is not going to be easy. No way is it in my mind that this stuff I'm going to show you here is going to be easy. No. Success is a mindset. Greatness is a mindset. And it's a mindset that it is hard. It is not easy. You have to work. As a matter of fact, I think you need to have a team that does the praying and a team that does the working. My family, they know that about me. They say, Andrew, they've been praying all night, right? Because they know I'm about the action. I'm like, that's your job. Your job is to pray for me. My job is to do the work, right? So you have to understand that, we're all given different talents. Some people are singers. I can't sing. I can't sing for anything. I embarrass myself, right? But some people, they just have that melodious voice that it just speaks to your soul, right? So everyone has a different position in this society. It's like a team, right? We shouldn't all be doing the same thing. Raise your hand if you eat vegetables. Raise your hand. Just started vegetables. Okay, does that mean that everybody needs to be a vegetable farmer? No. Does everyone drink milk? So should we all be dairy farmers, right? You should have specialized people who are doing different things, and that's the way it used to be, right? We have to understand, whenever you see some people who are here and they're ready to fight, let them fight. You need fighters in your corner. You need people who are going to stand up for you and fight for you. There are a lot of people who are ready to fight, but you're holding them back. I am ready to fight. My family can tell. They're holding me back. They're trying to calm me down, right? I am ready to fight for the Jamaican people because no one is fighting for us. Who is fighting for us? Give me a name. Who is here fighting for Jamaican people? Nobody. Hold on for a second. I just got it. Okay. So you have to understand that we need to be, I'm going to get back to you. I don't know what's going on here, but we need to understand that. I give you a perfect example. The U.S. military. You have the Navy, you have the Air Force, the Army, the Marines, you have the Coast Guard. Whenever they need stuff to do with the sea, do you think who do they call on? Well, more like the ocean, right? The Navy, right? Well, the Coast Guard, sure. For an air event, who do they call? The Air Force. For someone to do something inland or into the city, who do they call? The Army. So we need to differentiate ourselves. We need to understand that the Army does what the Army does. Let the Army be the Army. The Navy does what the Navy does. Let the Navy be the Navy. It doesn't mean that they're wrong because they're not. No. You have to understand that this is what it takes. This is what it takes. This is what it takes for us. No one person can do everything. There's no one trick for everything, right? So we need all of the above, right? But whenever you see someone in their element and the element is not what you think it should be, let it be. We need all the above. You understand? So, like I said, one thing that I will never lie to you. I guarantee you. I've been counseled so many times that I taught the truth too much. Okay? This is probably one of the weirdest things you think you ever hear, but I'm going to tell the truth, right? And then this is important for me to say this, especially Jamaica is a highly religious country. I know this. I'm Jamaican. I'm from here. I know. But I know what it takes for us to be great. And it's action. It is sacrifice. It is leaders that are going to be frank with you and tell you, hey, listen, We're not going to get there by praying and not working. We're not going to get there by praying and not working. It sounds good and it feels good, right? God is wisdom. You got to be wise. You got to be wise. That's intelligence. God is love. It's in your heart. You got to think about others before yourself. God is energy. Energy is action. Energy is doing things. So if you want to be godly, be smart. If you want to be godly, have love in your heart for others before yourself. If you want to be godly, take action and make a difference. How many times have you seen people go to church and walk past poor people all over this country just to go give the preacher an offering? How many times? All the time. Is that right? Is that right? No. It's not right. So you have to understand, you have to be able to step back and be like, you know what exactly it is that we should be doing, what exactly that we are doing, and why aren't we doing X, and why aren't we doing Y, and why aren't we doing Z, right? So, again, this is something that a politician would not say, but I'm a man of integrity, and I have to let you know from day one. Does that make sense? Okay, all right, thank you. Did she have something to say? Is she gone? Okay, so go ahead.
Morning, everyone. I'd like to start by commending everyone in this room because each and every one of you have made a step to change today. My name is Brandon Forbes, and I will be one of the next leaders of Jamaica, I assure you. Watching the room and listening to what some of the people who have spoke have said, you notice some themes that have come along. And one of those themes is pride in our country. For many years, even growing up, right, Jamaica has always been a country that we've had lots of pride in, you know. We birthed reggae, which was all about peace and love and unity, and legitimately spread that around the world, worldwide, you know. We had the fastest man in the world, and we've accomplished many other great things. However, you'd find that in recent years, a lot of the younger generation, my generation, and those even younger than me, have lost this pride for Jamaica. Because now we look at Jamaica and all we see is corruption and dismay, which is very sad. But I say to you this, what is good is favored in God's eyes. And as such, anything that is good and done in righteousness will come to pass. I think it is very important that we approach and view this in systems, because everything is a system. One thing always correlates with another. And I was listening to my friend over here who was speaking, and over here, who were both speaking of their urgings, like in Stanhope, Standpipe, etc., right? And it gets you to think, you know, a lot of these people who are out here who think they're gunmen and gunwomen and etc., you'd find, one, that a majority of them are just mimicking what they see on TV and in music because it is what is cool or it is what gets you likes. You'd find that others are doing it because they're in a desperate situation and don't know any other way to get out. Some of them have just grown up in a situation where they've been indoctrinated. It's all they know, you know? So I think in order to make a change for Jamaica, it is very important to look at the foundation of our country. Those children who are growing up in the garrisons and in those less fortunate areas, because it's those children, when changed and impacted by love, that will change this country. I say, furthermore, that I've been listening to you, Mr. Donahue, and something that you said that really resonates with me is that this is not a marathon. This is not a race, you know, it's a marathon. And I think that is very important to note, because you find that a lot of the new parties that come out always rush to get to the limelight and say, yo, I'm a new party, vote for me. But what have you done? Nobody knows who you are. How have you benefited our country? Are you just somebody else that is seeking attention? It is very important, as you stated, to back your words with action. And this is what we're here to do. I'd also like to formally make this my request to be a part of your team. Thank you.
The name is Brandon, right? Is that what I said?
Brandon Forbes.
Brandon Forbes. Thank you, Brandon Forbes. You know, this is this energy that you have. I always say that, you know what, you can't fake energy. You know, and that's something that you really need to pay attention to. Start watching your energy and other people's energy. There's certain mindsets that it just resonates with, you know, something that even if they don't even say the right words, it sends a message. And your energy is exactly what we need, right? This is exactly what we need. And thank you for being here. And absolutely, I want you to be on the KRV. I mean, I want everyone to be on the KRV as well. But this is the kind of mindset that we need, because people like you get it. But you don't get it for yourself. You get it for a higher cause. And you said something that I really agree with as well. We need to focus on the people in the garrisons. We need to focus on these people who are doing all these things, because they are really a reflection of us in many ways, right? We have neglected them. We have shown them that we don't care about them. So why would they care about our country? Why would they have pride? Why would they care about Jamaica when Jamaica does not care about them, right? And he's right that they mimic what they see. But because we know that concept, if we set the good example, if we start leading, they will follow. Now, let me clarify. When I say we, I literally mean this group right here. I don't mean Jamaica. I mean like us. If we make a difference, right, it will happen. And this is a very, very important first step on this marathon, that after a while it's going to grow and it's going to grow, because they're going to see that this is something that is genuine, this is something that is real, and it's not selfish, it's not self-serving and self-centered. It is about making a difference in this country. And these kids, you're going to inspire a lot of kids, Brandon. I'm gonna make sure that you are out front. Trust me, I already have plans for you. I already have plans for you, right? And and I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. I have this concept that I came up with. It's called peer leadership. And these kids might listen to you more than they listen to me. They might listen to you more than listen to my father or my mom, right? And I'm gonna give you a perfect example of what happened to me in my life. When I was, so I graduated Kingston College, and I went to New York for university. And then while I was there, one of my friends told me that one of my other classmates was also in New York. So I called him, and I was like, hey, man, you're here too? He's like, yeah. Now, this guy, I'm going to tell you his name. His name is Craig Cassie. Now, Craig Cassie had a reputation at KC of being what you call a ladies' man, right? A gallus. I don't know if you guys still use that term or not, right? But you know, when you used to go to school, you used to come back, you brag about a girl. Oh man, I got this girl number this weekend, and you're like, oh, you're shooting everybody, right? You're back. We never had swipe left or swipe right. You had to actually go up to a girl, talk to her, and convince her to give you her phone number, right? And that was you would celebrate just getting that phone number. And your friends would tell you, call it. You'd be like, no, I'm not gonna call it, because you think it's fake. And the deal inside, you know it's probably not real, right? But those are the things that we'll celebrate. For Craig, that was just Monday, you know? That was his normal life. He was always a ladies' man. So he was never really known to be someone that's serious. But when I was on the phone with him, he was like, now that I'm in the United States, I've looked back at my time in Jamaica, my time in KC, and I wasn't as focused as I wanted to be. From now on, no more mediocrity, Andrew. No more mediocrity. And I remember being on the phone, and I was like, is this Craig? I'm like, who's this, right? And it was just a normal conversation. He was just telling me his plans. I hung up the phone, and I remember thinking to myself, you know what? I like that. I like that. No more mediocrity. No more mediocrity. I'm like, I like that, Craig. I'm going to do that too. And I can tell you right now, that was the philosophy that changed me like never before. Just that conversation. Everything that I do, well, not everything, but for the things that are important, because sometimes I just have to relax, right? But when I was in the military, I was able to succeed at the highest level to be the best of the best just because of that no mediocrity mindset. I'm going to give you some things right now that it might sound like I'm bragging, but I can't need to say this. The job that I had in the military was that I was an electronics technician. I work on satellite communications. So whenever the ships are at sea, they have to communicate back through satellites, right? The people who get selected for these jobs are the best of the best. They are the highest. right? You have to have the highest scores and everything. So when I was going through school, initially before I even went to a ship, this is one of the toughest schools the Navy has to offer. On the final examination, the majority of my peers, by the way, don't look like me. You guys know what I mean when I say that? You know what I mean when I say that? Okay. So when I took the final examination, one person scored a perfect score. Guess who that was?
You?
Mr. Donahue, right? Now, they said that, so a lot of people, I didn't think anything of it, to be honest with you, because I had already had a high average coming in. But they said, of all the people, all the professors, that we've been here for 5 years, we've never had anybody score a perfect score while we're here. And they gave me an award for it. I was like, give me an award for this? That's kind of crazy, right? I didn't think anything of it. I was just doing that. But how did I get to that point? Is just constantly trying to aim for 100 in everything I did. I wasn't even competing with you. I was competing with me and 100. I was staying in my lane. Everything I did, I wanted to get 100. All right? I didn't care about anybody else. I didn't care about I don't care. Give me the test, the highest score. What is the highest score? It's 100%. It's always 100%. And I'm always aiming for 100%. Fast forward throughout my military career. I'm now on a ship, and I'm taking different tests to compete. Now, not with just classmates, thousands of people within my rating, right? 2,000, 3,000 people at a time. My test results come back and says that your score was in the 99th percentile. Now, I don't have a percentile here in Jamaica. Let me explain to you what that means. Of the 3,000 people that took that test, my score was in the top 1%, right? The first time I saw it, I was like, are you kidding me? Right? Now the pressure was on me to maintain that because it can't be a fluke. I did it again, and I did it again, and I did it again. I did it a total of 4 times at 99 and 1 time at 98. I wasn't too happy about that, right? But how did that happen? The no more mediocrity mindset. If Craig Cassidy did not tell me that conversation, I would have been okay with just passing, right? A lot of people say, who cares? You pass. Who cares about your GPA? You pass, right? Just do just enough to get by, right? And that's why greatness is a mindset and success is a mindset. You have to push yourself. You have to make that be in your DNA. You have to change yourself. You know what? I'm not going to be mediocre anymore. I'm not going to give 50% effort. I'm going to give 100% effort, right? And that's how I got those results. Now, do you think that garnered me a lot of respect in the military? Absolutely. Absolutely. I was training everybody. And when I say everybody, they don't look like me. Does that make sense? They were coming to me for answers and training, and they don't look like me, right? The one thing that I'm known for is knowledge. And one of the innate abilities that I have a very good way of explaining complicated things. And a lot of the things that the Navy was teaching was very high level and complex, like radars and electronics, and people couldn't get it. So I got it, and I was able to teach them. And the more I taught them, the more I got respect. So this is the power of peer leadership, of just having someone from your peer think differently. You know what? If Brandon can say that, then what am I doing over here trying to scam here or scam there? You know what I'm saying? So I honestly feel like you are going to have more of an impact, probably in many ways more than I will on those kids, or even just your peer groups to go impact those kids, right? And so we have to understand that you don't have to be in extraordinary positions to lead. Leadership is not based on position. You can lead from anywhere, right? We're not politicians. We're not JLP. We're not PNP. But we can lead. We can make a difference. We can impact this country, right? And the more it radiates out, it's going to become our culture, right? Our new thing. Who can tell me what exactly is culture? What is culture? Right? I know it's a loaded question, but who can tell me what is culture? Hold on for a second. Can you give me a mic?
Yeah, so culture is basically like the foundation of a nation, basically. It's the core of a nation. So, the food, the sound, vibration, culture.
Yeah. Okay. Does anyone have anything else you want to add to that? And thanks, by the way. There's no wrong answers. It's just open floor. Go ahead.
I would say that culture is the knowledge, practices, and like different forms of expression that are passed down through generations.
Okay, great, excellent. Can you bring the microphone over here, please?
Just to keep it simple, you can say culture is the way of life of a people. So not just on a nation level, just with your friend groups, with your family, your parishes, your community. The way y'all live is your culture.
Okay, I agree with that. No, you got more, man. Come on. Say something else.
Yeah, so my answer for culture is like the social behavior of people and that type of ideas that it's different personalities, different people.
Right.
And with that being said, now you have different environments have different culture, how
Right.
people behave, if this culture is a culture of respect, if this culture is a culture of strife, that type of thing.
Absolutely. And those are all, anyone else want to add to this? You want to get in? No? Okay, so those are all correct answers. If I were to have a very short answer, I would say, and I'm not necessarily 100% right, culture is what you do. Culture is what you do. I lived in Japan for 9 years, and I've had a lot of time to really observe the Japanese culture. And I can tell you, it is one of the strongest cultures I've ever seen, right? One of the strongest. And the thing about Japan is that they don't tell you their culture. They don't tell you how people tell you how great they are and how well we are doing. They don't do that. You go there and you see that it's great. Japan does not tell the world that it's great. They're very humble. Matter of fact, you give a Japanese person a compliment, they're like, oh no. Oh no. Right? But the world, people go there and they leave and they say how strong the culture is. Culture is what you do. I'm gonna give you a perfect example. Do you remember when they had that huge earthquake that caused the Fukushima plant to have the radiation and everything, right? Okay, so the tsunami came in, it flooded and destroyed the whole town. I think it was a few weeks after the whole thing, they had gone in trying to recover the bodies. While they were recovering the bodies, they were finding, so Japanese culture changed a lot after World War II, right? So after World War II, people just work, because the country was destroyed, they're trying to rebuild it. But they didn't have trust for banks. So whenever the older generation would save their money, they would put it under their mattress. I think we used to do that too back in the day, I'm not sure, right? I wasn't around then. But they still do that. So when they were going to these homes to recover bodies, they were finding boxes and boxes of money. Just cash, that's just there. And one thing that they did, so they have this whole human chain of people who are just volunteers, right? Taking boxes of cash, the piles of money, just passing it down, and they're giving it to a police, and the police is putting it in the back of a truck. No one is trying to steal anything. Would that ever happen in Jamaica? Can you imagine, hold on. Can you imagine having piles of cash passed down to 100 people and no one wants to take anything? Oh, by the way, and it's on the back of an open truck that nobody's watching, right? That is culture, right? This is that, right? It's a mindset. Now, are we ever going to get there? I'm not going to say that we're going to get there, but how did the Japanese get there, right? You have to have culture. You have to be intentional about identity. You got to be intentional about who we are, and most importantly, who we are not. Japan had, I'm going to get to you, man, I promise. I see your hand, I'm going to get you. Japan had, they were in the World Cup in Qatar. You might have seen this, where they went to Qatar. So this is not even in Japan. They went to Qatar, the World Cup is happening, the game is over, all the Japanese get up and start cleaning their respective areas, helping the workers. No, like that's not taught. Does that make sense? It's in you. Does that make sense? So that is culture. So and one thing I know about Japanese, they have a lot of pride in being Japanese. But they respect a lot. They'll come here and they'll love Jamaica. They'll love everything, but they love being Japanese. We need to create an identity that Jamaicans love being Jamaicans. We need to create an identity that everywhere we go, we say, this is who we are. We don't do this because we are Jamaicans, right? And we need to have that. It needs to be from the inside, right? And that needs to be a part of our institutions. It can't just be, churches and here. It needs to be a part of everything that we do, right? And you need to see it everywhere. And that has to be an intentional act. We have to say that, you know what? We're not perfect, but we're people of integrity. We're not perfect, but everything that we touch, we're going to make it better, right? If I hire a Jamaican person, I know he's going to be honest, and I know he's going to give his best. I know he's going to show up on time. I know that whatever he or she's a part of, they're going to make it better. We can achieve this. We can achieve this, but you have to be intentional about it. You had a question?